Alright, am I live yet? Am I live yet? Am I live yet? Alright, we're just starting out here. Let's see. Trying to get everything up and running so I can see your comments and all that. So I'm going to be doing a new panel, which will be going up on my Patreon. The last panel you can see up on my page. That one will be drawn out here soon. But I'm doing a monthly panel giveaway. I also need some suggestions on what to do next. This was one of the suggestions in the comments from my last video, was what to do when they said a snake. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Going to be doing a snake and then some other stuff over on this side of the panel later. Maybe tomorrow or next week or something like that. But so this is how I'm starting this panel out. I cut out this snake with a couple reference areas. So I'm going to blow in the white here, the highlights and everything. So I'm going to go back and forth and reference where I want all the highlights to go. Then I'm going to take a piece of carbon paper and I'm going to transfer the details, because with snakeskin, which is hilarious, snakeskin isn't too bad to do because it's big X's this way, and I'll show you how to do it with white and make things real easy. But I don't want this thing to be too bright. I want it to be bright enough, but not too bright. I'm going to use my white to highlight everything right off the bat, so as I'm mapping in all of the details, I want most of it to be done in white right away, so then I don't have to go back and forth with black and white, black and white, black and white, and keep having to fight all of the transitions of colors. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But if you're going to be transferring images with a piece of carbon paper, it's better if you lay down a brighter color like this rather than keeping it on the blue or something, because it'd be harder to see. So let's see. So hello everybody. Good morning. Hope you are all well. And like I said, if there's something that you want to see me demo and do on a panel for the Patreon, this all my lives is going to be for demo panels for the giveaways for the Patreon. So if you're interested in winning something like this, then go on over there and sign up, and I'll be doing drawings, and this will be one of them. And you'll see the other one that I just put up. So my iPad is not loading, so I can't see anybody's comment on that, that's great. Come on. I didn't clean out my one airbrush very well last time I used it, so that's my fault. But the good thing is I don't need it right now, really. I like having two airbrushes. I like running two airbrushes, one black, one white. So then I don't have to keep going back and forth with my one brush. Now, if you only have one brush, that's okay. It's doable. I've done it. But if you have another one, even just a cheap one, you know what brush you're going to be using for your details. So use that brush for your details, and then use the other one for just block-ins and stuff like that. So this is a dirty Iwata HPBH. I'm going to run a little bit of black in this right now, just to get these areas that are dark, just a couple. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to go here, just like that. Because I know in my reference photo, and this is just this thing, whole brush is so clogged. So see how I'm bumping the trigger back and forth? bumping the trigger back and forth will just help get some paint out if you're just desperate for some paint. Because again, like I said, this is just areas for reference, so it's not too big of a deal, but it would be nice to get some paint. This guy got to do to get some paint around here, you know? Come on. Come on. Yeah, this brush is not in good shape. That's what happens when you don't clean after you're done. You get stuck. I'm not prepared. I'm not prepared. Let's see, is this one clean? All right. We're gonna switch. We're gonna switch it up. This is I want an HPCH. Nope, HPCS. Sorry. There we go. Got a little bit of flow here now. Look at that. Amazing. So then once I pull this reference away, you'll see, I'm going to lay this brush down, dirty one, so I can put this in my holder. All right, there we go. All right, when I pull this back, see how I have these certain little reference areas? These little reference areas here are the darkest areas of the snake. Around the eye, nose, mouth, and all that. So now what I could do is I could go ahead and take the snake up right on top there, real light. And then I could take a pen or pencil. Whatever you want to use. A pencil usually gives you a wider transfer than a pen. Ballpoint pen usually gives you a thinner transfer, just so you know for reference for the future. But watch this. So all these scales here are more or less an X. So I'm not going to go around and do every single one. I'm going to go through and be kind of accurate because this is your reference lines here. And then I'm going to blend it out here in the end. But you go here, box this in. And this is the snake head, so you want to make sure you got that defined. See, I'm going to need some suggestions for my lives when I do stuff like this. So if you go back to my profile, my last video, I asked about what you guys want to see. I know I got to do flames, real fire. All right, give me one more second. See, now watch. I don't know if you can see all these little lines now. Let's see. Try loosening, pulling back and out. Yeah, I did. There's something stuck in the fluid nozzle. So I'll get it. Just being on the live, I don't want to spend too much time cleaning out an airbrush, so I just switched. Keep this nice and dark down in here. So yeah, how's everyone's Friday night? Yeah, so if you're just starting to get into airbrushing, this is a great way to practice images, figure out techniques and stuff like that. And if you're not really too adept to freehanding stuff, if somebody comes in and asks you, for a snake or for a skull or for a rose or anything, you can tell them to give you a reference photo, and you could go in and add that reference photo to your design and whatever, and you know that that's what they were looking for because they provided the photo for you. So if they say, you know, hey, that's not what I was looking for, you're like, well, here's the reference you gave me, so you can go ahead and suck right on that. Hold your finger over exit port, hit the. Yeah, I gotta do that. There's some contaminant in there. Yeah, do a little blowback, bubble up. That's usually how I mix my paint. Also, you got great ideas. See now, all these little texture areas, I am tracing as many of these as I can. So then I don't have to make them up. Because again, this is a quick demo. I want to show you what I can, or not what I can, what you can do with white before you start adding other colors. There we go, just like that. And then we got right there. I hate Cloud Gun. HPC Boss though. Oh yeah. The HPCS is the workhorse of all workhorse airbrushes. I love that. I love that spray gun. Iwata makes a great brush. Sure do. Okay. Now let's take this all off. And this is just on a framed piece of wood here, so this is a complete panel when I'm done with it. Ready to hang, do whatever you want with. All right, take the tape off this reference photo. And this is just an image off the internet. Good automotive guns. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the spray. It's like this one here. I'm glad the Micron. I'm glad I got the Micron when I did almost 20 years ago because now it's like astronomical how expensive spray guns are, airbrushes are. Not so much the HPCS and stuff, but this gun's definitely a lot more than it used to be. All right, so inside each scale, if I just go around and do a small, make almost a small dot, move it around, and see as I'm starting to build up this first layer here, you can see the carbon transfer coming through a little bit better. So if the sun is coming down on top of this guy, as you can see here, if I make all the tops of everything, the top side, it's going to look like it has some type of dimension already. So that's the goal here when you're building up your base layer, is to really get your white or whatever color you're using first, your blocking color, let that start your dimension. Don't get right into, all the way around and making everything so bright, because then you have to come back in and you have to mess with the black and stuff too after, and you're just going back and forth and back and forth. You're forcing shading and it takes too long. So use your first color to start all of your dimension. Let's see, because like all these scales behind the head here Okay, so let's see. His head goes to here. So, and I'm just bumping the trigger back and forth. I'm keeping it about a quarter inch away, and I'm just pushing down. I'm keeping the air on, and I'm just pulling back and forth like this, like tickling. That's all you got to do. That's airbrushing, really. Yeah, well, listen, Chris. I woke up at about 4:30, 4 o'clock. Couldn't go back to bed. Went back to bed. Woke up. I had broken sleep, so I was like, you know what? I'll just start my live earlier, and go from there. Plus, I wanted to get this blocked in last night, and I didn't. Ended up going out to dinner with the family and all that instead. So, um, I wanted to have this ready for today. Hey, puppy. Hi, puppy. Get that out of your way, boy. There you go. Lay down. All right. Hi, boy. All right. One thing I didn't do is I didn't go the other way, but that's all right. So this is gonna be foggy. So you see, I'm just making dots. I'm literally just practicing airbrushing right here. And also, too, if you want to come back and watch the rest of this live later, when I'm done, I'm going to download it and put it up on the YouTube. And the YouTube channel's Paint You, so you can look that up. Just youtube.com/PaintU, almost like Paint University, and that will be up there as soon as it downloads and uploads. So if you don't want to watch this whole thing, which I'm assuming you don't, there used to be about 100 Craig Frazier's and shit. Oh yeah, Craig Frazier's the man. That dude just knocks stuff out. He was actually one of my instructors for airbrush action 20 years ago. The guy's phenomenal. Nice guy too. Super nice guy. Super chill. He's like what your classic Californian is, just kind of whatever. Super nice guy. What was I saying? Yeah, see, I'm just kind of going light with everything. I don't want to get too involved with details just yet. Keeping everything kind of vague. And just doing some highlights now. Then you can start really pushing it. All right, let's see. And Jay, the gentleman that suggested I do a snake in the first place, he said do a snake hand also. I mean, a skeleton hand. So I don't know where I'm going to incorporate that yet. But like I said before, make some suggestions for my next panel and stuff. And what I want to do for the Patreon here is I want to have a couple different panels up. So when I do the drawing and you win, you have kind of a choice. Like, hey, do you want this one, this one, this one? So, and like, say you hate snakes and you win a snake. It's like, well, that's cool and everything, but like, I don't like snakes. So I want to have a couple different panels up, so then you have different options of what to, what you can take home. Let's see, who we got? Huh. All right. Let's see here. So see how it already kind of starts looking like a snake, and I didn't really even do much. So let's start getting the block in here. Let's see. Right from this tooth back. It's kind of creepy looking. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of snakes in the flesh. Um, just the way they curl around your arm always freaked me out. But they're fun to paint. So the more detailed you want to be with your airbrush, the closer to the panel you get, and the less on the trigger you go. You don't want to be heavy on the trigger when you're close, because then you'll just blow paint right out. It'll just go. Phew. So light coats all the time. Bump the trigger. See how, again, I'm not taking too much time. Don't want to get too detailed with anything yet. Go back in and kill this up a little bit. And then, if I want to, what I could do is I could take the reference and I can highlight the scales and get a little accurate now that I got the block in done. So let's do that. Start picking the scales. Get a little closer to the edges of each scale. Does anybody out there in TikTok land on the live have any cool projects they're working on? I just got done with a hood for a contest in Indiana. So that's on its way over there. And that's what I did pretty much all last week. Also, too, when you're doing animals, not even just a snake, but that's more or less a reptile, I suppose. Um, do some hellish foreshadowing, put his body back in the desert with the sea. Okay, I like that idea. Um, oh, I just forgot what I was saying again. That happens to me a lot. Mid sentence, I just forget what I'm talking about. Too many things in the brain. So you could start taking the white and adding your motion to the creature. Oh, what I was going to say is the eyeballs. Most important thing on any creature that you're painting is the eyeball. If you make the eyeball just amazing, that's what people gravitate to, is that eyeball. So, especially like if you're doing bears, or lions, eagles, it's all feathers and whatever. It's, you know, it's all just lines and, fur and whatever, but people go and gravitate towards that eyeball and they want to stare at it. That's what makes it look alive. So pay a lot of attention to the eye of what you're airbrushing, because that's super important. And now my airbrush is starting to whistle, which means it's going to spit something here soon. Now I am running the paint. This is just PPG base coat white. Um, and I am running it a little thick to cover. I don't need too many details yet. And the cool thing too about airbrushing is you could get hyper realistic. Like you could get super deep into it. And I think shading is easier than pencil. It's easier than anything. So if you're decent with a pencil, just uh, sketching and stuff like that, you'll pick up airbrushing super quick. And even if you're not good at using a pencil, shading with an airbrush is so much easier than drawing that I really think anybody can do it. And I'm not just saying that. Here, here, here. What do we got? Oh yeah, giving the finger. Yeah, but see how it's all like this is. I'm just highlighting scales. Let's see, this nose needs to come up here, so this needs to be one right here. I missed a couple scales, so I'm freehanding as I go. So as the nose rolls around, there's areas that would normally be highlighted that aren't, because obviously the sun isn't coming up this way. All right. So switching to the black. What kind of needle are you using mostly? So the needle in this brush here, the HPCS, is a 0.35. The needle in the Micron CMC is a 0.23. And a big thing with the difference between the two is the way they atomize. The fluid nozzle has a different setup as far as the way it spins the air inside the head. like this has just one hole, and it spins the air inside this cap here. The other one has three, so it comes out in different areas, and it really changes the way uh, it atomizes, and it creates a much finer detail. So let's see here. I hope that made sense. Now, like, you want to cover a lot of ground really quick. This brush here, HPCS, is it'll get you there. It'll get you there quick. So I'm just gonna low light some stuff. I want to start creating a little dimension. This is the middle. Over here. Get some stuff going over here. I think this is supposed to be connected, actually. I shouldn't have cut that out. Here, let me switch. Alright, let's see. So I would really like to have my other airbrush working. That's going to come up. Let's see, where are we at here? That's the bridge of the nose, and comes down this way. Here. So we punch some of that back. Like that. We'll get this back here going. And make that real dark later. Let's get under here. You can see how it's already starting to kind of roll, and thank you for a great. Yeah, no problem at all. That's what the lives are for. You can get real questions answered in a way where it's live, and there's an airbrush in the hand. We can make examples and chat. That's what it's all about. I want it inside here real dark. Like that. Now, you can get detailed with HPCS, but personally for me, I would rather take black, put it in a different gun, put in a different brush, I should say, and use it because this for the way I airbrush my style. I just think it comes out too fast. There's too much coming out, and I like a softer. I'm a beginner. The videos help me a lot. Oh, well, I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. Gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling inside, you know? All right. Let's try to get this brush cleaned up a little bit. So, I'm going to bump the trigger. I'm going to bubble some stuff back up in the cup. Dump it out a couple times. See if I can't clean out the head of this. I'm going to back the needle out back and forth a little bit. One thing you got to remember is if you back the needle out back and forth like this, it's going to build up paint at the end. And watch. See how it spit it out? So if you're doing that to clean out your gun, just know that you just loaded the end of that needle and it's going to spit. So be careful and be ready for that because it will happen. Then you don't want to go up on your piece and be like, bam, and then now you have to figure out how to make something, or fix something or change something or whatever. So just watch out for that. Oops. Doing a little back and forth, bubbling and pulling the trigger, bubbling and pulling the trigger. Yeah, there's definitely something in there because right now I have it's like a fan. It's not even a, huh. Maybe for the sake of this demo, I'll just pour the white from my Micron out and add black. So how long have you been airbrushing for then, Wesley? Like when you say beginner, how beginner are you? Because you say I'm a beginner, but I've been doing it for 3 years, and you've already done motorcycles and helmets and murals, or you're a beginner like I just got a kit last week and I'm trying to figure it out. All right. All right. See, it's already clean. Okay. So now we'll go in here and we'll start detailing some stuff. And again, remember that the highlights are coming down this way. So if you are going to be a little heavy-handed, you want to be heavy-handed on the bottom side of these scales, not the top. Also, if you are interested in winning some art, right there, the Patreon, it's $3. Gives you a chance. Figure just to do something fun because I like doing these demos and I don't need any more. As my wife reminds me that I don't need more panels of stuff I painted laying around. So we got to get this stuff out of here. So I'm going underneath each one. Let's see here. Yeah, where we at? And I do skip around. Sometimes I tend to skip around, so I'll do an area here, then I'll move over here because I get bored. Um, what kind of paint are you using? So this is PPG's DBC line. This is I'm using just black and white base coat, really, and that's it. I will probably change to another color eventually, but these are all just solvent based. Um, yeah, PPG colors. So make sure you got a window open or a vent fan or something because they stink. But I mean, it flows nice. Um, color's good. Now, I'm not saying that you can't airbrush with um, I'm not saying you can't airbrush with something like a tropical glitz black or something because you can, because I do, because I like that stuff also. But it's at my spray booth right now. Like tropical glitz abyss black is super nice. That's a really good color. I mean, well, it's black, but sometimes it's hard to find a good black. Like Omni, PPG's Omni line, their black is like a brown black. It's not like a true black, like a nice black. So like this is a good black because you can see when I'm blending it out, it just has like it goes from black to gray or gray to black or whatever as you build it. So some stuff is, you get like a gray or a blue hue to it. You get a brown hue to it. Blah, blah, blah. So um, when you find that color you like, try to keep it. But see how I'm getting real close? I'm just bumping the trigger. I'm just basically making super small dagger strokes. Trying to keep the highlights. So I'm just going above on my little reference lines that I drew earlier. Trying to shade the bottom side of each one of the scales. And again, I'm not taking too much time yet. Really what you want to do, especially if you have a shop or area where people come in and out, you want to get the image in form as fast as you can because people are going to come in and see it, or the customer is going to come in and take a look, and if it looks like dog straight up right off the rip, they're going to freak out. Like when I was doing a lot of Real Fire, when Real Fire was trending back in the day, I wouldn't let anybody come into the shop. Like I'd literally lock my doors until I was closer to the end because it doesn't look like anything in the beginning. And even though that they came to you, they saw your work, they're expecting what you've done in the past on their stuff. When they see something and it doesn't look exactly like they thought it would right away, they freak out and they don't trust the process. So, you want to get it roughed in quick. So then if they come in and they see it, they're like, oh man, that's looking like a snake, or that's looking like, whatever. That's why I say, get all your reference lines down. Don't make it harder than it needs to be, because the more references you have, the easier it's going to be for you. and me. Do the demo. I will do airbrush now for about a year. Oh, graffiti, that's cool. I'm going to get stuff for the canvas. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I do just some, graffiti, but just on panels and stuff. I've never actually went and did a wall or a big mural or anything like that. I did so there's a place in Cleveland called the Cleveland Steamers that they build their own train cars, and they'll do events for Christmas and Halloween, and they take kids on the trains and whatever. I did a train car once for them with graffiti and stuff. That was pretty fun. But graffiti is another style on its own. It's really cool. Oh, that's my puppy. The other thing too about scales and snakes and stuff is you can kind of, as long as it flows, you don't really need to be super accurate with the scales as far as like where they were in the reference. But as long as they have the right, as long as they're all going in the right direction and stuff, that's all you really need. Let's see. What's my dog barking? What does he want? All right, so this actually comes up higher. Oh. Let's see. Let's go up this way. And that's the nice thing about airbrushing too, is like I just kind of made a mistake right there. I mean, it's not a huge one, but it's big enough. So it's like this. Okay, so right up here after these. So that's where the nose is. And it comes down to this plate here. I've lost track of where I was going for a second. Well, that's the nice thing about airbrushing is I can just add a little bit of white right there and problem solved. Oh, Wesley, man, you're too kind. You're too kind. I appreciate that. I really do. It means a lot. I'm just here to help. If I could help you in your, a goal of yours to, if you want to airbrush more or be a full-time airbrush artist or whatever, if you're just looking to put some money in your pocket, whatever I can do to help. That's what we're here for. I just want to, if I can help somebody in their dream to be able to, get out of the corporate world and go live their dream, that's my goal. Because I don't think anybody should have to be strapped down, especially if you're creative, you have ideas. You need to get that stuff out there. You're gonna freaking explode. Bob Ross. I'm working on the hair. Not there yet. Yeah, this is a happy little man crushing snake. So then as time goes on and as you're building this reptile here, you just go in and just start detailing more and more and more and more, and it literally turns into, the creature you're creating. So, and that's what I like about these lives is, with just doing a video, like, okay, do this, then do this, then do this, and then bam, you got yourself an image. Well, but now you could actually see the process. In the process, it takes hours, to make an image, and you're like, okay, well, that took, Tom, 4 hours to do that. So that's like a realistic kind of, time, like, and you could put as many hours in, as you want into something. So, I could put 4 hours into this panel, or I could put 7 hours into this panel and make it look way different. All just depends on, the time, or if you're getting into business where time is money, you say, okay, well, at X amount of dollars an hour, think about, how much, you want to make per hour, and then tell, your customers, or like I do, I have a couple different panels and say this, at this price or this many hours for this, it looks like this. But for this price, this many hours, it looks like this. What do you want? Because for an extra, you know, 10 to 15 hours, you can get something that looks banging. But if, you're good to cut it at this time, then okay, fine, no big deal. But I always put that extra little time in there, because what's a couple more hours a night of my time when I know that when I put this project out, it's gonna get me another one. So always think about the next project you got coming in, because the one you do before it might make or break the next sale on the job. You don't want to make it look like, you cut too much time. So that is kind of the thing that stinks about being an artist is, people will haggle with hours of your life. Um, but sometimes, and don't get insulted either. If somebody's like, "Hey man, I only wanted to spend this," you'd be like, "Okay, well, I can't do that," and walk away from it. Because they find another chumbo, because that's not enough, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to walk away. I still have trouble with it just because sometimes, especially if it's like a cool concept, um, it's hard for me to walk away from stuff. But still, sometimes you have to. If somebody doesn't want to give you your worth, sometimes you gotta let it go. They even wrote a song about it. Sometimes you gotta let it go. So I'm just kind of moving all over the place. Like I said before, I kind of get bored with one spot, so I'm always jumping around. But again, I'm also used to the old show days where, when you're doing something live, people need to see an image quick, or they kind of lose faith in your ability, really. Or what you could do is, like, you could concentrate on this part right here, leave the rest kind of open. But if you concentrate on, like, the eyeball, the nose, the crown, and all that stuff, then if you hyper focus on that for a little bit, then they'll see just that area done, and they'll be like, "Oh boy, that looks cool," and then they at least know that you know what you're doing. Okay, I got to stand up a minute here. I'm sitting down too long, my back's starting to hurt. Ooh, bastard. Knee cracks. Getting old, folks. Getting old. Is my head in the way? I don't know. Also, too, I don't normally airbrush straight down like this. I always turn my brush to the side. I'm either pushing or pulling, but if I have the brush on the side, I can see what I'm doing. If it's in front of me, I got the cup right there, and I can't see what I'm doing. So, all right, let's see here. Yeah, it's little baby strokes. And another thing too is if you're working in your studio or your garage like I am, one thing you can do also is as you're progressing through your project, you could always stop, get a pencil out, draw a couple areas in, make a couple reference lines for yourself, and and take your time and really make sure, especially the earlier jobs that you work on, really take your time and and do the best you can. Really give somebody your 100%, because then they'll come back and they'll look at it and be like, damn, that thing just freaking sings. So that's what I like to do. And also, I'm building up my layers slowly, so I'll go over the same line, a bunch of times, because I don't want to be like, bam, black, done. It doesn't airbrushing, especially depth and creating depth. Your it's all layers. Ogres have layers, but you don't create dimension with just one line. Got to go back and forth a couple times and really punch it in. And make it as detailed as you can. Let's see, what time is it now? 8:30. All right, I got to get off here soon because sports stuff for the kids is starting soon. So I got to get them all ready to go. But I'll be back working on this um, this week. So I'll do an update. I'll let you know when I'm coming back on if you want to watch this. If not, remember Paint You on YouTube. I put the whole thing up there. So this entire live is going to be downloaded and uploaded onto Paint You. So check that out also. If you don't catch this or the next one or whatever. Like I said, I want the knowledge out there. I want people to create so then I can have something to look at. So, all right. Have a good day. I'm trying to be.